Hello everybody, today I want to be talking about my progression from console to PC gaming, why I made the switch, and some tips and tricks that may help you in your progression from going from console to pleb like this to PC god like this. Oh, you took a stupid baby and shoot. Already? Don't do it!
Oh! What the hell? You didn't get the spike. It's
One enemy remaining.
no fucking way.
I'm inside.
If that kills anyone, I'm a god. Ah, my god!
The other one has.
Knock.
Oh my god, I did it again.
Snipe master!
Oh my God.
Snipe master! Let me snipe him for you.
On the waterfall.
I'm a god amongst men.
One enemy remaining.
You're actually cheating.
You're actually.
Don't do it!
What the fuck? There's two knocks. There's one more right behind you, Ben.
Oh! What are you aiming at?
Sir.
Yes!
You're a monster!
Oh my.
Wow, both of them.
Breaking the wall.
What the freak?
Shoot! Oh my
What the
goodness.
freak? He's a freaking
Yeah.
legend.
Yeah,
She's
what
a
the freak?
legend.
I want to separate this into 4 different parts so you can skip into the part that you want to hear. Maybe you don't want to hear my little beginning speech. Like, I don't care how you started playing. 4 parts. First part, the journey. How did I start PC gaming? Why did I start PC gaming? The second one, this is a little bit of a tips and tricks video. So what did I practice when I started going from pleb to less pleb? Third, how to practice. So if you skip the first one, skip the second one, please. Listen to the third one. If you already know what to practice, how to practice. It's a very, very key important thing when practicing. Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Just one little word and it's just crazy. And the fourth one is, what did I get from this? What's the point of aim training or focusing on developing your aim in games when you can just play games casually? Sorry about the lighting. I'm re-recording this before I upload because I was getting too preachy. I grew up playing a lot of console games, and basically my entire life I thought console was going to be what I learned how to play games on. I had experience with online gaming when I went to my uncle's because he had Xbox Live and Modern Warfare 2. So you can imagine what I've been exposed to my entire life with online gaming, hence why I didn't do a lot of online gaming when I was younger. I grew up basically playing a lot of the Mario titles, so Mario Kart Double Dash, Mario Party 2 on the N64, and even like my own classic favorites like Legend of Zelda Wind Waker or Sly 3. After some time of playing this, I got introduced to a new category of games besides these cartoon games, and that was fighting games. I was introduced to Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, and that's where a lot of my passion for gaming grew. I wanted to get better to beat my stepdad because he would kick our ass. So me and my brother joined together and learned the combos, learned the inputs, and eventually got really good enough to kick his ass. I burnt out of that game because I couldn't do the combos that I was seeing online, and I just eventually quit. Later on, I started getting into games like Black Ops again, but still staying away from the online mode and playing mostly zombies. The new Black Ops 3 came out and I decided to turn on the old Black Ops 2 PS3 and play Black Ops 2 Zombies, and that enraged me. I played Transit, the worst map ever created for zombies, and I got pissed off, and that day I said screw this, and I bought the new PlayStation 4 Pro. Along with that, I bought Black Ops 3 and 2 controllers. That game was wild. I loved zombies and threw everything that I could at it and got really good. Eventually, the time that I put into that game was shown to not help me improve at games at all when my friend Esau who's also on the Detention channel, which you should go check out, link down below, brought over some of his friends and we played and they destroyed me. And I've been playing zombies for so long. This is when I decided to try out a new game that just came out and put all of my time into it, aiming whatever I needed to. A little indie game called Fortnite. Fortnite for me was an amazing experience on competitiveness. It was my first battle royale. It was also my first instance of playing online. And that really gave me a passion for competitiveness and getting better and destroying noobs or defaults. Eventually, relationships around that game kind of turned the game sour. And again, I would put all this time and effort into this and got nothing for it. I would not improve, not get better. And it made me very angry. This was the time when I started going to college and I found this one class that I loved, and it was my ASL, my sign language class. That class really opened up a bridge for me. I put my effort into it and I was one of the best students in that class. My grades started to turn around. I went from a straight C student to a straight A student. Dean's List 2-3 years in a row. I got a job as a tutor at the school, and that was one of the most beneficial things to me, because I was able to see, along with trying to figure out a new language and learn how I can learn better, I was able to help teach others how to learn and learn my faults when learning or showing someone how to learn. This is why later on in the video, I explain why you should learn or how you should learn. Nothing could have stopped me. I was going to be top of my class until I transferred and be top of that class as well. And then something actually did stop me. And that was a literal pandemic. Now, because of the pandemic, I was forced to be online. And from my past of not playing games online, I really didn't have technology that went online except my iPhone. My aunt was generous enough to give me a laptop, a little hand-me-down laptop, but that barely ran at least 2 Chromes. So my mom offered her laptop instead, and that worked fine for Zoom. Thank God when the pandemic happened, it was towards the end of the year. For me, this was a perfect time to upgrade to a PC. I really wanted a PC because in the days of Fortnite, I heard all these PC people say PC Master Race, and I saw all these console people switch to PC, playing on controller though, but switching to PC for the better specs, the great advantages that you can get from just building a machine. It was summer, I needed a better laptop, so I decided let's build a PC. I built my PC and the rest was history. I started editing, I started gaming, I wasn't doing better in school because I don't like online, but I started focusing more towards games because I had this hardware now. I had this machine. I started trying to get back into Fortnite and I sucked at Fortnite. I didn't touch that game for like a year and I just got really bad at it and I was like, screw it. But this was the perfect timing because around when I finished my PC, Valorant came out. And I'm so glad that it did because I put my nose to the grindstone and I learned what to learn, what to practice, and even how to practice. And that perfectly ties into what you guys should be practicing, whether you're switching from console to PC or you're just looking for a little bit extra edge. Like any skill, there's going to be basics and a foundation that everyone needs to know to be able to hone their skills and become better. And things like martial arts, cooking, and even typewriting. There's going to be basics that everyone should know and build up upon. In shooters, there are 4 basics that everyone should know: flicking, tracking, crosshair placement, and lastly, game sense. Game sense is a very difficult thing to train because of the metas of different games always changing and how many games that are out there that have differences in the game. If you guys want another guide on a specific game or just game sense in general, leave a link down below. But the 3 that I'm going to talk about today are going to be flicking, tracking, crosshair placement. Flicking. There are 2 different types of flicking, macro and micro, but for this video, I'm going to call it big boy and small boy. The big boy flicking is those 180-degree flicks that you see all the time in montages. People flicking like crazy and hitting headshots. Small boy flicking is when the person micro adjusts after the flick. Now again, those montage flicks are big and extravagant and look really cool, but they're not practical. In games like Valorant, it is very apparent for people to flick and micro adjust. The combination of both will eventually be engraved in your muscle memory that the small boy flick and the big boy flick become just one giant flick. The second thing that someone should train is tracking. Tracking is one of the most important aspects in any shooter. Tracking is the ability to place your crosshair on a target and successfully follow them throughout in one fluid motion. For the sake of consistency, there are two types of tracking. There is a third technically, but it's just combining both. But the first one is horizontal tracking. Horizontal tracking is tracking from left to right or side to side. If you heard of the player named Symphony, he was accused for cheating countless times because of his godlike tracking horizontal aim. Now, Symphony was well known for his horizontal tracking, but in games like Fortnite, he was known as an edit god because he was able to do stair, floor, straight down. But if you look at the motion of the edit, you see it's side to side. And this is me just giving a little bit of evidence of why you should train these aims, because it can be successful in other games. But the second form of tracking is vertical or up and down. Now, the reason why these are split up into two is because side to side movement is all in the arm and up and down movement is in your shoulder. They're completely different muscles and completely different muscle memories that you have to know and will eventually learn. For me, vertical is one of the hardest ways to track someone. Even though I have a huge mouse pad space, it is very difficult for me. But once you get the hang of it, you'll be able to vertically track, horizontally track, and eventually use both of the movements combined to track anybody, anywhere. And the last one is crosshair placement. Now, you might have heard crosshair placement or centering. I've heard centering in the Call of Duty franchise, but crosshair placement is when you place your crosshair premeditatedly where a target is going to be, headshot or chest level, to get the most amount of damage when you see the person. In games like Valorant and CSGO, this is very apparent and very important skill. And this is very important because when someone rounds a corner or goes to a common spot, they're going to get destroyed, either with a one-shot headshot or just a lot of damage in the chest area. But these games are not the only ones that are limited to crosshair placement. Like I was previously mentioning, COD, or they call it centering. But old school COD, even COD now, the quick scopes, they would line up their little dot crosshair in the center of the screen in headshot level, because when they quick scoped, they don't need to aim because their crosshair is already centered. That's why they called it centering. But this is very apparent in other games such as Fortnite. Crosshair placement is very important in Fortnite. As you can see from this clip, the Mongrel Classic, when you edit a wall and a stair, my crosshair is already placed on the person's head, so I don't need to flick to them because I can see them through the edit. One reason why I feel like battle royales are one of the hardest ones to crosshair place, so Apex or Fortnite, is because of the incentivized loot on the ground. Because loot is on the ground, players will tend to have their crosshair placed on the ground to look for loot. And these are the basics, the three basics that I believe everyone should know like the back of their hand. And now I will move on to part 4 on explaining how to practice these skills and hone them to become great. Welcome to part 3. Hello. Before I get into how to practice, I want to say a few things before, like what qualifies me and stuff like that. If you skipped part 1, I became a tutor during a little bit of time when I wasn't playing games, and I learned how to teach others there as well as myself. I met a bunch of different people and how they learn and how I believe they should learn. Along with learning the subject they were learning, I also gave them skills to help them learn other things as well. I also did some learning of myself. I almost learned a new language, typing, editing for YouTube, as you can see, etc. How should you practice aiming? Tip number 1, consistency. And I mean more than consistently train or consistently aim. Consistency is a good part of just life in general. For aiming, you want to have a routine to learn how to aim and train your aim. Now, that's going to be different for everyone. If you want a more in-depth, how do I train my aim? Leave a comment down below, because each individual is going to be different. And I want you to find something that you really enjoy. Along with consistency, you have to ensure that this is going to sound very nerdy, how you sit's consistent, where your monitor is consistent, where your keyboard is consistent. How you hold the mouse is consistent. All that leads to repetition, leads to muscle memory, which leads to you becoming a better person. Again, perfect practice makes perfect. Make sure you stay in the same stance, you sit the same way, your chair is the same exact way every single time, so you can replicate that more and more times, again and again and again. Tip number 2, this is a big one. Stop using aim trainers. Now, you have aim trainers like Kovacs and Aim Labs, and people, I personally love Aim Labs. It's free. I started using it when it was literally like 30% done. I still have clips of me. Now you might be thinking, why am I endorsing this if I'm telling you not to use it? And that's because people are using it incorrectly. For example, I'm stretching. Am I going to stretch? That's my workout. A stretch is just to warm up, just like Aim Labs should be just a warm up. Myself, I used it incorrectly. I was lucky to get in contact with an aim coach, and I showed him my routine. Actually, I have it right here. My routine was, again, I'll put pictures up, and I was practicing for hours. When I was talking to the aim coach, he told me I would not be able to get the results that I wanted from an aim training program. I recommend, though, aim trainers if you're a beginner or an advanced player, because beginners will be able to understand how to move, how to aim, and use their arm and get to learning that way. Advanced players understand what to do, and honestly are probably even watching this video. So if you're a very, very new beginner from console to PC, I recommend aim trainers. Here's a clip of one of the best Apex players talking about aim trainers and when you should use them.
Is that Kovacs really worth it as an aim trainer? I believe so. That's what helped me get better. I believe that Kovacs will help you at the beginning, right? It's not gonna make you a god, right? It would help you at the beginning when you're struggling a lot. That's my opinion.
But if you're learning to aim and train your aim a little bit more, tip number 3, play the game. And I know you hear a bunch of streamers say that. I've gone into a couple streamers myself and asked, how do you aim? How do you aim? None of them use aim trainers. Just play the game. Answer used to piss me off, and I did not understand it until later I started seeing the results. Play the game you want to play. Play it, learn it, do stupid stuff. The more you play, the more you're able to get game sense. The more you play, the more you surround yourself in the game, the more you will learn. Call back to when I was talking about me learning another language. I was learning in the classroom, couldn't do it. I went out and experienced the language for myself, and I got it immediately. It was top of my class. Immerse yourself into it. Myself, I watch Apex streamers, I watch Valorant streamers, but I just don't watch content creators. I watch the boring scrims that they do, and I look and I learn. I play the game and I apply it. Tip number 4, progression videos or pictures. I personally have been working out, and I thought I wasn't gaining anything. I thought I wasn't losing anything, but I listened to the people on YouTube that I watched to start losing weight. They recommended taking progress pictures. So I did, and I lost 10 pounds. Yay, go me. This last week, I didn't lose any weight, and I was very upset. But I looked at my pictures, saw an improvement. My arms are a little bit bigger. My face is slimmer. My belly's gone down. I don't have a hella dad bod beer belly anymore. And I recommend the same thing for aim training. Progression videos. I'll put a clip here of when I started. I actually started on my birthday in 2020, 2019. I can't remember the exact date. And I was trash. Now here's a video of me literally today editing. I have a dramatic improvement, and I didn't even know it. I thought I was still bad at video games. So tip number 4, take a progression video. And don't do this weekly thing like I did and check every week. Check every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, so you can actually see the improvement. And that's a big, big tip. Tip number 5, have fun. I know this is a dead answer. I really do. You want to have fun. When you're having fun, time passes and you don't realize you're aim training. When you're aim training, you want to have fun. Warm up in aim labs, do something crazy, play a game that you enjoy. If you remember those clips earlier in the montage that I did, you noticed the majority of them had my friends' voices in the backgrounds. And that's because I play games with them and I have fun and I improve. Here's little clips of literally just the other day me playing with a 5 stack.
Tap out, tap out, tap out.
No, go.
Player standing.
Just go back. Yeah, just try and defuse. Just try and defuse.
Go.
It's in the middle. I don't think you can stop it.
One enemy
I
remaining.
lied. I'm just wrong and bad.
Oh my god.
You're built different.
Me too.
They really were just like, my turn.
Those four.
Okay, so my... Your turn.
You got
Your turn.
Let me add subtitles. I said, I'm safe.
That's for you.
Oh.
You're cheating. You're cheating.
We had fun. We popped off a little bit. Maybe we didn't pop off. But the point is, we had fun. We improved. And I know a lot of people are watching this. Why do you have any friends? Find people to have fun with. And that brings us to part 4. Why should you even do this? Why should you aim train? 4. Why you should aim train. Now, when I say aim train, I don't mean for everyone to go buy a PC, watch my video over and over again and learn how to play a game, learn how to get good at a game. When I say you guys should do these steps, I mean apply them to another skill. I wanted to make this video and give you guys a step-by-step guide on how to learn almost anything. And that's why I feel like these steps are so generic, and I am so sorry that they're so generic and so dad-like, I guess, dad advice, but they're true. Consistency, stop using substitutes, doing the action, progression, and having fun. Learning new skills, even if it's not a language, something like typing. I consistently practiced almost every single day. I stopped using the programs that helped me. Again, when I was a beginner, I should have used them, and I did to learn. I played the game. I would go out in the real world, start typing. When Among Us was very popular, I would practice my typing there using practical words. I saw the progression because I would literally type like this, 20 words a minute to now almost 80. And I have fun while doing it. I love typing. I love going on other people's keyboards and practicing my typing. It's so much fun. I don't know. It's just fun to me. And that's why I think everyone should aim train. Pick up a new skill. We're in quarantine. Probably have half of a year left before we're out. Do something new. Send it to me on Twitter. Learning a new skill. Go ahead. Send it to me. I would love to see you guys' progression. Thank you so much for watching my console to PC progression. I hope you go out there and take these tips and learn to aim train yourself.